Good morning again. This is Sizzle, powered by Fit to be Trained, coming to you from Deep End Broadcasting Network studios in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, in the United States of America. You can find this program on deependbroadcasting.com and subscribe to this network's YouTube channel, Deep End Broadcasting. I didn't mean to say
Where do they find your stuff at?
Right off the bat, I am Karen Dougherty, and my business is Fit to be Trained, and you can find me all over online. My website is fittobetrainedonline.com, fittobetrained.com. I have a couple websites right now, and then all my social media is Fit to be Trained, YouTube, everything Fit to be Trained. It's kind of easy to find, and it's funny because last week I had so many notes that I was like fumbling papers the whole hour, and I got a podcast done. It was good. And this week I have no notes. So I thought, I'm kind of looking forward to it. Like I had some plans in the back of my mind. Like I really wanted to do a podcast on creatine, and I started digging into it, and it was a little more than I thought. I
think we need someone like Coach Josh on here where we break down some creatine or something like that.
Yeah. Right? That would be fun too, because I kind of went down the rabbit hole, and I thought maybe I'll do this in the future when I get a little bit more information. Because it's a supplement that a lot of us take, and I just don't want to talk about something if I don't have the correct information. So what I thought was, since we're newly on Spotify, we're on Apple now, we're on Google, which is now YouTube. I was a little confused about that, but we're pretty much all over all the platforms. And I thought, well, maybe this is a really good time for me to go on unscripted, talk about who I am, talk about what I do. Even though we're 12 episodes in, some people might just be tuning into us for the first time now. So my name is Karen Dougherty, and they call me Sizzle at the gym. I was going to a CrossFit gym called Valiant CrossFit. That's where I met Steve. And the owners, Lou and Ned Atkins, gave us all nicknames, and mine was Sizzle. So that's where that came from. And I thought, with the podcast being about health and wellness, we could go after the old 80s bacon called Sizzling, which Ned had called me that one time I was walking into a party, and I heard somebody yell that out. I'm pretty sure it was Ned. And I thought, that's such a good one. So I thought, that's what I'm going to name my podcast. And there are some podcasts with the name Sizzle in there, but nothing like ours.
Really?
Yeah. So the Sizzling show is original, and it's pretty easy to find, and you'll see my picture right on the front. So I thought, again, I'd talk about me and Steve, how we met in CrossFit. We talked about that last week when we really focused on the CrossFit gym. But I'm a personal trainer. I do that for a trade, actually. That's my full-time job, and I'm a fitness trainer, and I specialize in Pilates because I own a Pilates reformer, and that's a very popular item right now. It's funny how something from the 1920s can be trendy 100 years later.
Right.
Really, literally. And there's a podcast that we talk about like trends and stuff like that. So if you're joining in for the first time, I encourage you to look back on some of our older podcasts before we were on the platform, where we just talked about, there's 12 episodes of all these different interesting subjects, and you'll be able to find the subjects underneath each podcast. So
yeah, the supplement one was really good too. That's a good one to start with for anyone who thinks they need to take a bunch of pills and stuff like that. I'm sorry, your friend's name again?
Sherry.
Yeah, Sherry.
That's right. Sheridan. I know. Yeah. That was great. I appreciate that you enjoyed that so much. Yes, she is a wealth of knowledge. She's a very good friend of mine for over 30 years. And a fitness competitor herself from back in the day, and very successful at it, I might add. That was back before all the apps and contraptions. Like when I did my bodybuilding competition was just 4 or 5 years ago, and I had a lot of help with technology. Obviously, I had to do the fitness work, but a lot of the putting the foods together and all that was a little easier to track nowadays than it was when I was watching my pal 30 years ago win competitions carrying around notebooks and Tupperware, and things were a little different. So I had her on as a guest to talk about supplements, because Sherry was always ahead of the game. When we were young, she was telling me to brush my teeth with charcoal. That didn't even come out until like 10, 15 years later. In fact, I remember thinking, God, she's crazy, but it worked. So that's a good one to start with. And actually, the very first one is kind of a fun one. I really loved that very first one. And we do some introductions there too. And Steve is an assistant rugby coach now. So he has some wealth of knowledge in fitness and sports from being a sports athlete himself, and now in the coaching realm. So we just enjoy sitting around talking about fitness. So I kind of liked that I didn't have a whole bunch of scripted material today, like I sometimes do, because I get into the research. I do like researching subjects.
It's good for the brain. You learn a lot when
It
you go back
really
and
is, and it's
do the prep work for the show.
right. I really enjoy doing it, and I'll tell you why I didn't do it this week. I just got a little bit overwhelmed, and I think everybody knows that feeling because I was working on other things. I'm trying to get ready for spring. It's transformation time, right? Everybody's getting ready for summer. So we're peeling off our jackets and peeling off our clothes and going, oh my, or I'm peeling off our winter clothes. I mean to say, let's be clear. Oh my, maybe I need to drop a few pounds, or maybe I need to gain a few pounds, or whatever's going on with you. So I was working on getting this platform actually on Spotify and Apple. And I was also working on advertisements for my 60-day transformation program. So I got kind of lost in it all and forgot to do research on creatine until kind of, I think it was last night. It was last night, last minute, and found so many interesting facts that I really wasn't ready to talk about it. So I wanted to let you guys know, like, this is the best time. I know everybody thinks New Year's is the best time to start a regimen. And it is, because you're coming off of a holiday season where maybe you're nice and fresh and ready to start with a new attitude and new habits. But it can be difficult in the winter, where now in the spring, with the weather changing and people being able to get outside, it's so wonderful being able to see the neighbors. And when we're out walking our dogs, we're not the only one walking on the streets or out. The kids are out playing again. And it's a great time to think about a transformation for yourself. If you're ready to, like I say, there's lose weight and there's gain weight. Like I'm always trying to gain muscle. So I'm more on a strength training regimen. And really, my age group, I'm 58 years old. And I've been in the industry for over 30 years, but I'm always training myself. So I'm always looking for new ideas, new exercises, new anything. Because you can imagine being in the industry for 30 years, it's not like I know everything. It's just I always welcome something new. And Pilates Reformer is something that I like to do with my clients, but that's something that I do live and in person. And now I've taken my programming onto the internet and onto a more virtual platform. And obviously I started doing that during COVID, where it was still one-on-ones. We were just on a virtual platform like Zoom or something like that. And now I've incorporated different apps like Trainer Eyes and more scheduling with ladies and gentlemen. Most of my clientele is ladies right now, but it varies. And everybody can benefit from this transformation program that I'm doing right now. It's 60 days, and there's a couple classes or a few classes that are included in that package that you can join live virtually. And then obviously you're going to get your fitness training and your programming through the app and through the computer, your computer. And then there's virtual check-ins with me. So the reason why I bring that up, because a lot of my friends and clients are all over the United States. So that's why I love this program so much, is because I can do it with anybody, anywhere. We get into nutrition. We talk about balancing health, hydration, self-care. It's a really pretty in-depth program. And some of my gals that have taken it through the year are still with me today on a maintenance program where you can get off of the program that I'm offering. And it's only $250 a month. So it's 2 months long. And then you're done. And then you go off into a maintenance program, which is more $50 a month, so you're not spending that kind of money all the time. It's just in the very beginning where you can really get lots of attention from me. We're really focusing on your form. We're getting, the bumps out of maybe you're deciding what time of day is best for you to train, whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening. Everybody's different. So those first 60 days are pretty vital. And there's a lot of time with me during that time. And once you go off on a maintenance, then you're more on your own. But like a lot of my maintenance clients tend to meet with me virtually once a week still. It's, once a trainer, always a trainer. Most of my clients, I am proud to say that my retention is very high. I often say to them, till death do us part. And which I love, because you create relationships in this job. Being a fitness trainer is so much more than just giving out exercises. And I think a lot of people don't know that. And maybe that's why they hesitate on spending the money on the trainer. They're thinking, oh, I can download something offline, or AI will cover some of this stuff now, right? You can just punch in and get a workout. But fitness training does a lot more than just giving you programming. And I speak for all of my peers out there, my other trainers, or my other trainers. I didn't mean to say that. My, what am I trying to say? Other people that are in the industry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say.
I can't think of the word either.
Group fitness instructors, trainers, instructors.
Well, your peers.
My peers, yeah. I think a lot of us are misunderstood, and they think that all we do is, give out exercise and that's it. There's a lot more to it. You're building relationships, talking about food, talking about habits. I just had a client run the Shamrock. So nice. you're doing, and she did let me be clear, she did the 8K, running she didn't do the full marathon, but there's still some preparation in an 8K, and she wants to work her way to a 10K, and then, on and on and on, exploring if she likes running. And that's fun for me as a trainer, to give her programming, little running programs to help her along. Does she like running? Does she like it? It seems like she does now, I'm realizing, because this is her second 8K. She started with a 5, then went to an 8, and now is looking at a 10. So that to me tells me, I think she likes this. So we'll focus on that. I also see her live and in person. So we do Pilates reformer, which is a lot of mobility, which is really great for a runner. So we do have that luxury of being local and getting to see each other one-on-one. And her name is Natalie. I'm going to be doing a feature on her in my Instagram. And I thought what I'd do, because I did have the lack of notes, like I usually have so many of those, almost too many, I'm realizing. I learned that last week. That I just look at my Instagram and I'm always doing like certain facts and information to help you guys along in your fitness journey. And I did one the other day. And let's see, the number of calories burned walking depends on your pace. But here's a rough estimate for someone who weighs 165 pounds and is 5'5". So I don't know if that's really an average height. 5'5" is a little tall, but what it tells you is how many calories you can burn. So if you follow me on Instagram at a pace of 3 miles per hour, it's 40 to 50 calories in a 10-minute walk. And what I'm trying to tell people here is walking 10 minutes 3 times a day can get you up to 150 calories. And that's more what I try to do. Like you'll hear a lot of people are trying to do 10,000 steps, which is fantastic. But 10,000 is a number that's hard for even me to wrap my mind around.
I think, what is that? I think it's like 2.5 miles, maybe.
Yeah. Yes.
I think 8,000 steps is 2 miles, if I'm correct.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I have on my phone, because I don't have an Apple Watch, because I can't wear something on my wrist. I just can't do it. I wish I could, because they track sleep and all kinds of good stuff, but I just can't. But anyway, a brisk walk, you're burning closer to 55 to 65 calories. So let me go back. Moderate pace is about 3 miles per hour. So that would be 1 mile for 20 minutes. And then 4 miles per hour would be 15, right? So you could go out and walk for 15 minutes. And you do that 3 times a day, and you're getting some decent calories in. And what I meant to say was that's what I track. I try and burn an extra 100 calories a day. And what that turns out to be, I can tell you exactly. Because I actually did close my ring yesterday.
And I got the 8,000 steps info when you want it in a minute.
Because I don't always close my ring every day. I try. I burned 135 calories, and that was 6,198 steps.
Oh, wow.
So
8,000 steps is 3.5 miles.
Yeah, and that's a lot. So when somebody's doing 10,000 steps, the reason why I started tracking it on my phone is because I really wanted to see what I was doing inside my house, because I go up and down the stairs constantly. And that's really why I started tracking. I was like, what? I bet you I get 10,000 just inside my house. And I don't, but that's why I started tracking it. I think it's fun. And I know a lot of people enjoy that. Let me go back to my Instagram and see what else, because I did that one the other day.
Speaking of your little motivating quotes, I saw a good one the other day.
What is it?
Do you want to hear it?
Yes, of course.
Okay. And this is good for everybody. The easiest trap to fall into is once you get to X, like once you get to a certain spot, then I'll be happy. Once I make more money,
right?
Once I hit the goal, once everything falls into place. But life isn't waiting for you on the other side of achievement. It's happening now. If you can't enjoy the process, you won't enjoy the outcome, because the finish line always moves. The secret isn't in getting there. It's in learning to live here.
And gosh, isn't that truth? Because you always hear, it's the journey.
I think I'm guilty of like, all right, I got to the finish line. I'm good.
Well, I know.
No. It needs to keep going.
Me too. And I'm in the middle of a journey because I'm building this online business, and it's going slower than I want because I think the
moral of the story is you always have something to achieve every day, and a challenge you can always, stand up to and try to conquer every day. And to think that ever goes away in any aspect of life is completely false, because somewhere, whether it's in business or in living or in exercise, you always will not have that expectation of that day, and you'll have to fight another day to get there.
Yeah. And you want it to be enjoyable. And I think when I put too much pressure
Everyone makes it stressful.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Yeah,
I think our culture is always more, 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 more. And if you turn on the TV, then you're comparing. And then obviously the phone, if you're turning on, if you're falling into traps of comparing on the phone, I've learned not to do that, because put it this way. This is how much Instagram and all that stuff. There's a picture of me when I'm doing this post on walking. I'm in Colorado at the Garden of the Gods. I am not in Colorado at the Garden of the Gods right now. You know what I mean? So somebody might look at my Instagram and be like, oh, wow, Sizzle's in Colorado. She's so lucky. I wish I could travel. And little do they know that I'm not in Colorado either. That's where this picture's from. And I was there.
You've thrown me off a couple of times like that. I'm like, oh, she's in Minnesota.
I know. I've had friends from Minnesota call me and be like, are you here? And I'm like, oh no, I'm not. Because I use in my feed, I have tons of pictures. Some are professional. I've had photo shoots. I've had the Garden of the Gods is just one of my best pals taking a picture of me at the Garden of the Gods. A couple years back. That's probably 3 years old. And so then I use all this footage, and even my clients, there could be a picture of them in one of my old studios. I just constantly am processing photography, and I know that I'm not the only one doing that. So that's why when you don't get fooled when you're looking online and going, oh, that person's living such a great life, blah, 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 blah. It's really such a farce, especially I do believe the social media stuff. A lot of us that are owning businesses and putting stuff online, we're just using our photography. And I actually I punched in Dropbox a picture of walking, and I lucked out, and up came that pretty picture of Garden of the Gods. So then you go on TV and everybody looks glamorous and wealthy, and you're thinking, oh, my life is so well. I fall into it too. But we have to remember our culture is really good at making us feel less than by comparison. So try not to fall into that trap ever. But I loved that what you said, Steve, that yes, it is about the journey, and try not to put this pressure on yourself. I really enjoyed all week working on, last weekend, I worked on putting this podcast up on the platforms that I wanted. And it took some time. It took all weekend. Anything tech takes a lot of time. And then this past weekend, God, I can't even remember what I was. Oh, I know. I was working on a sales page for my virtual classes. And I so much enjoy doing that stuff, but it's a time suck. So I'd rather than get overwhelmed and be like, oh my God, I don't have my notes for my podcast. I'm going to look at how much fun I had going over trying to make that sales page. It's still not even finished, but I probably have to pay big bucks to get it done. So I'm enjoying doing it myself. It's just not happening as fast. So I'm going to enjoy the journey of putting all this tech stuff together, which I really do. I love doing the virtual training. It's fun. I have one this afternoon. It's just as fun as live. And I joke, sometimes I get distracted by live. Me and my client will start fooling around because we're live. And sometimes virtual, I'm more focused. It's funny. I tease my live clients. I'm like, I've got to really focus with you, because sometimes, you get distracted by your own, your own self. So There's a lot to be said for virtual training. There's some downfalls to virtual training though too, I bet. You know, I don't know. I don't really know what the downfalls would be. Do you?
I think maybe it's easier to cancel. Knowing that you have to be in a place at one time, you're like, yeah, you know,
I'll do it later. The procrastination beast.
Maybe.
Yes. Yes. The downfalls of virtual training is that you're going to have to, you don't have that appointment. You don't have that appointment like my
you
live
do,
clients
but
do.
I think you do, but yeah, I mean, you maybe take it for granted a little bit how that, because it's still kind of a new forum.
Right.
Maybe it's easier to excuse yourself in a computer than having to show up live.
Absolutely.
Where really it's the same thing. It should be treated as such, because obviously it's your time, and I know people have canceled on you because we've talked about it. And you know what? It actually, you had that hour that you could be using somewhere else.
Well, I think that's why I've always wanted to do virtual training before it was even popular with COVID. And it's been out forever. And it was just the trainers that were either had the money to hire tech to do it for them. And then now tech is getting where a lot of us can do it as a side gig, you know. So a lot more of us are trying it out, but it's hard. I mean, people go to college for tech for a reason. So it's not like as a fitness trainer, I can just hop on and become a virtual trainer. There's a little bit of a learning curve to it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're trying to make it easier and easier for us to accomplish it, and easier for the client to accomplish it too, with ways of tracking, which my clients can track on a calendar inside an app. We track their food, we track their workouts, and I can see everything they do. I can tell them good job. As soon as they're finished a workout, it checks. And then I know that they've done it. I know if they're playing hooky because they're not checking off their workouts. So, and I have yet where I guess I would never know if a client was being dishonest and just checking the workouts
right.
and they weren't doing it. Like, I guess I have
cherry picking, as they call it.
Yeah, like I have no way of really knowing that, but I'm pretty sure because I've been doing it. Last year, it's been actually, I would say exactly a year, I turned out the 60-day transformation program, because last year I put it at 60% off because I really didn't know what I was doing. And I was using them as guinea pigs. So I gave them 60% off and I had great luck. And both of those ladies, both of those OGs, we'll call them, the original gangsters of the transformation program, are still in my programming, I'm happy to say. So that's why I always say my retention level is really high. I just have to get the client in the door, whether it be live or whether it be virtually. Once I get them to commit, I usually can keep them intrigued in fitness, so they can stick around and really see some results. My one gal is on a maintenance program virtually, and my other gal is on a maintenance program virtually as well, but she's live. Because what people find out is if they are capable of doing the actual virtual without having the appointments. So my one client was really able to self-start and do her workouts. My other one, and I'm talking about the two original gals, and my one found that to be tougher. So she was more into live, coming to the classes, and now we just do virtual one-on-one training during the week. And they all turn out to be about the same pricing. You know, like whether you're going to do fitness training once a week and then do some classes, it in the month's end, it's 100 to 150. And if you stay on the programming, then it's only $50. It's really, I think it's $39.99. I can't remember my pricing, but it's not very expensive, the maintenance programming at all. So I've always wondered, what does hold people back from hiring fitness trainers? Is it the money, you think? Or do you
probably different reasons. I think money is always one of them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, here's the way that I look at it. You can spend $50 several different ways. And fitness is probably one of the better ways to spend it because, you know what? That's going to be a bar tab for you and a couple of your friends. That's no big deal at the end of the day. Or, you know, you're going to blow $50 on lottery tickets or something like that. You know, who knows? Cigarettes, whatever the case may be. And, you know what? You can always find better uses for your money. So why not divert that to fitness, where that gives you some sense of accountability? Because in essence, that's what you're getting, I think, from joining a gym or having a personal trainer, is you're adhering to some sense of accountability and being accountable and trying to go through the process on your end. And you do it better than as good as anyone, Karen, or better. I mean, I think you take a step further, because I get it. There are definitely plenty of people who think that maybe my personal trainer should be my psychiatrist as well, or something like that. And you know, a lot of the personal trainers, their job is really just to get you in the shape. And, you know, like you said, I'll give you a running program or whatever, and that's it. That's all it should be.
Really? That is.
But you are the kind of person, I think, that will take that extra little step to ensure comfort. If someone has a problem, you'll probably hear them out a little bit more than someone else who wouldn't care to hear about it, et cetera. So whoever's out there across the land, know that you would not only be hiring a personal trainer, but you could also have a little bit of a rock you can vent to if you needed to. Well, and you won't have to worry about it at all, because she'll be fine with it.
Well, I think it's kind of like coaching. Now they call it coaching, right. and coaching is there is more to being a coach. That might be a whole different podcast. Like, what's the difference between, because you'll hear life coach, you'll hear coach.
Well, I think there's definitely different styles of coaching. I think everyone's unique to their own.
Oh, definitely.
As well. And I don't know, borders can be crossed too.
Well, sure. I have a program where I deal with addiction, and I deal with I say ladies coming out of treatment, but I would work with a guy too. I never mean to say that, but most of my clients are females because I'm female. But women that are coming out of treatment and they've already committed to changing their lives. So I'm by no means their counselor. I'm by no means their psychiatrist. I'm by no means their program of choice, you know, for their sobriety issue. But I do take on the coaching aspect of, if you'd call it coaching, personal training, whatever, is bringing their fitness. You know, actually, are their exercises going to be any different than the other gals? No, not at all. But it's going to really be refreshing to them, if they didn't already have a regimen, to feel those endorphins. And that, and again, will help with any kind of issues in their personal life, whether it be addiction, depression, blah, blah, blah. And then there is certain nutritious aspects that can come into play if you're coming out of treatment and you want to add some extra health. There's some amino acids, again, that are just as good for anyone, me and you, or the person coming out of treatment. So I do a lot of that work too, which I really, really enjoy. So yeah, you'll see me online. If you do go online and follow me, you'll see me usually pitching the 60-day transformation program. And you won't see a lot of advertising on the fitness and sobriety coaching package. I don't know why I feel more anonymous about that, only because AA is an anonymous program. And a lot of people want to keep that anonymous. So whether you're training with me on the one coaching program or the other, it doesn't matter. So that's why I guess it's a good thing that I have this podcast and I can put that out there to my fellow people that are in recovery or searching to become get into recovery or struggling with addiction. I'm there for you. I'm absolutely there for you. I don't advertise it all over online. I mostly go through the establishments, the different treatment centers, and like Hazleton is one of the most popular ones all over. There's 6 of them in our country. And so I do definitely do that kind of work too. And I appreciate you saying that, yes, as a fitness trainer, I am there for you to give you your fitness programs, your running programs, and all that too. But I'm also there to give you empathy, compassion, understanding of maybe what a food addiction can do, because I know what an alcohol and a drug addiction can do. Addiction is addiction. It doesn't really matter. It can devastate in any realm, right? So, yeah, I wasn't planning on mentioning that today, but I appreciate you saying that I do deal in compassion, and I do. It's probably my favorite part of my job is that's when things get interesting. That's when things get past the walking lunge or the Pilates reformer feet and straps, when somebody presents me with maybe an injury or maybe something they're dealing with mentally, whether it be depression or addiction. Obviously, I'm going to send them on to the professionals that really can do the work on this, but I'm definitely going to work on them side by side to help them get to the right professional, or once they're done with the professionals, or working side by side with them. So with that, I kind of don't want to burn up your microphone anymore. I think we've got, for not having anything to say, I think we've probably got 40 minutes of.
Did you reach out to the lady who does the CrossFit for the rehab people?
No, I'm so glad you asked me that. She started following me, which, how when you're like on Instagram, even though I'm 50 years old, when somebody starts following me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited, or you get starstruck. And she started following me and I'm like, oh my God. So no, I did not reach out, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to this week. I want to really get involved in whatever sort of programming. And if you didn't hear our podcast last week, there is a CrossFit gym here, not here in Virginia, but in the United States that caters.
Phoenix, Arizona.
It's Phoenix, Arizona. And her name is Tammy. And she will allow you in her box, in her CrossFit gym, if you've got 48 hours sober. She just wants 48 hours of sobriety. So yes, do I want to get in contact with her? Absolutely, because we obviously have the same passion. But yeah, I wanted to share that with you. Yes, when she started following me, I was like, oh my God, you get kind of starstruck. It's kind of fun about social media. My social media page is a lot of fun, and I do enjoy being on it. I just can't be on it as much as I wish I could. I wish I could post every single day. It's just a little bit more time consuming than I want to admit. So you'll get like 2 or 3, maybe 4 posts out of me a week. And they tend to be interesting, fact finding, at least things that I find interesting. It's my page. But with that, do you have anything you want to close out with, Steve?
No, not really. I mean, it's just we have beautiful weather. I've been waking up earlier, which is good.
Yeah. Getting used to the time change takes a minute.
But I haven't gotten the early workouts in yet. Only because I feel like every morning when I've like actually been ready to go, I've had something pop up. I need to run here. Oh, I need to run there. I need to run there. So I think the early morning workouts are coming, and I just need to put everyone on delay a little bit.
Yeah. they're coming. It does take a minute. I was every Wednesday I go to CrossFit. That's a morning I'm not training clients. So I usually go on Wednesday, and I didn't get to go today. I'm still adjusting to the time change. I woke up a little too late.
Oh yeah. Did that mess you up at all as far as your early?
Oh yeah, very much so. Like last week was the original week. That Monday I slept way past time due. And then this morning I woke up in time where if I would have rushed, I would have made it. But you know how CrossFit doesn't like you to be too late.
Right.
So I would have been a little bit
Nah, that's the one thing they don't like. They like
on the borderline where I would have been like they let you be a few minutes late, but I just skipped it. I'll make it tomorrow, and then I have clients on Friday. But yes, absolutely, the time change makes it more difficult. I guess the evening people that train in the evenings are really enjoying the daylight savings because that's great for them now. Because I'd imagine it's already hard enough to go to the gym after work, but if it's dark out, so now it's more enticing to. Because I met you at a 4:30. I used to work out after, the afternoon workouts. But now I'm back on mornings. I remember when I was on the 5 a.m. when Ian was in school. Oh my God. I couldn't do that now. And I really thought about the 5 a.m.s when we had that time change. Because that's 4 a.m.
That's another different kind of animal, that's for sure. You definitely get your day going early.
Yeah, and you go to bed real early.
You get a lot of stuff accomplished.
Yes. But
that's inherently my problem is I just couldn't go to bed at 7:30 every night. I mean, there are times I'd be up till 10, 10:30, 11. Right. And then the next thing you know, your sleep schedule is off.
Right. It's not conducive for everybody. That's one of the things we do in that transformation program is figuring out when is the right time for people. Sometimes it's lunchtime. And with that, I do have a lunchtime client. So I will let you get back to your world. And I thank you so much for taking the time with me today.
All righty. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.